Hello, Nick.
So, hi, Nick.
Hey,
How are
Stu.
you
Hey,
doing?
Jessica. Is it Jessica or Jess?
Oh, either. It's fine. I'm
Okay.
not picky.
We'll go with Jess because I'm lazy.
Sounds good.
Everyone all right?
Yeah, good. I was just catching up quickly with Jessica. I haven't met Jessica before today. We've had a lot of emails, but we haven't actually managed to speak. So it's good to finally talk. So
Yeah.
what I thought would be, I don't know, like I thought it'd be good that maybe Nick just share like where he was coming from when he wrote the initial piece. And then maybe we go to like Jessica to sort of like, maybe you can sort of give us a few reasons why you like gravitated towards that piece of writing, and then like how you sort of like built it, and then we can like play, and then we can chat afterwards. But are you cool with that, Nick? Like just to share a little bit about.
Yeah, I was just sorry if you can see me rapidly opening and closing things. I was trying to find DESOULED on my desktop because actually I find I'll be honest, as opposed to lying, and I find it sometimes quite hard to look at. I haven't looked at it for a little while because, as I said, for me it was at one point quite dark, quite a raw piece.
Yeah, I can remember you when you first shared that, you were sort of saying, I don't think anybody will pick this one because it's very like raw. And then Jessica announced that she was working on it, so that
it's amazing. I'd love to see. I can't wait to see what you've made of it. Yeah,
I think as an artist, like I feel the same way about my original music. I go, oh gosh, I couldn't possibly share this with anyone. They're going to see inside me, and I can't be that vulnerable. And who's gonna even want to feel that way? And then those are usually like the best songs. So
yeah, I was having an interesting talk today. Well, Nick finds his piece, but the talk today with the voice coach. She's also a psychotherapist or psychologist. And we were talking about, the whole idea is, obviously to encourage people to share like their stories. And it's great that a lot of people are doing that. But it's also like interesting that there's still going to be parts of people that people don't feel that they can share. And we were saying how interesting that is because there is a cutoff point for everybody about what they will write and openly share. But there's always something saved. And we was talking about that as quite an interesting sort of take on.
Yeah.
How
we were talking about that at a songwriters camp I was at last week, like a conference.
Okay.
And yeah, it was similar. It was, I don't want to share the details. Like, I don't want to be too specific. Then people will know I'm, talking about them, or like they'll know that the situation I was talking about. But it's the details that people then relate to, and that willingness to be vulnerable, I think is our job as artists.
Yeah, and it's that vulnerability that allows, from the Noisy Brain's point of view, it's that vulnerability that allows people to relate, and that's where we want the conversations to start or to continue.
And also, when people start being vulnerable and being more open, or they see other people being vulnerable and more open, they start opening up as well. And then it's a whole chain of events. Like, for me, when I look at stuff that's on the Noisy Brain and I see how deep some people have actually gone, I'm thinking, okay, I can open up a bit more. I can be a bit more honest, a bit more brave. And I do put stuff out there on my social media channels as well. And Facebook is probably still where I'm most active, even though it's old school now and it's dying on its arse. But you'll find that you get responses from people that you went to school with 20 years ago. And you'll be like, okay, you're interested in what's happening to me, or you relate to it in some way. So, sometimes it's good to put like that.
And to remember that this isn't for your friends and family, So like when we write music or we write poetry or writings, it's not meant for our friends and family, you know, because those are the people that we're most worried about. Well, what will they think if they know the real me type of thing? It's for the people who don't know you, who are out there, but who need to connect with someone and understand that, who understands them, you know? So just like keeping that in mind too when you're writing. This is my mom, you know, if my mom read this, she'd probably freak out, you know?
But that's it, yeah.
She got probably all nervous.
True.
So, have you found it, Nick? Oh,
yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay.
I was just being sociable.
Oh, we don't want that.
Yeah, I found it. For some reason, I wrote it in 18-point font. So I've got no idea why. I was clearly quite angry when I wrote it. Strange. Anyway, yeah. So you want a little bit of backstory on what it was all about, or how I came to?
Just a little bit. Like, I mean, you elaborated on the submission, but maybe for sort of anybody like watching, just a little sort of like bit of a background about where you came from and maybe what headspace you were potentially in when you wrote that.
Yeah, so I think when we spoke, I said I just got out of hospital when I wrote this, but actually I was a year out. I'd been out a year, and when I'd been in hospital, and I've got no problem saying this, I found that hospital was there to kind of to shut you up, to straitjacket you a bit, be it chemically or otherwise. And for me personally, they just pumped me full of pills. I was on about 8 different medications, and it worked. It got me to quieten down, because I did quite literally have a noisy brain, and I was not in a good way, and I was vocalizing. I was making strange sounds. It just wasn't good. But this is a year on from then, and I felt that in that time I hadn't progressed, or I certainly hadn't progressed to where I wanted to be. And I wasn't still on as much medication as I had been when I was in hospital, but I was on nearly as much as. And some of it I just couldn't work out what it was doing for me. And a lot of this stuff that they give you, it shuts down your soul. So it will repress part of your brain that needs to be shut down for a time being. But it will shut down your personality as well. And that's kind of what happened. Among my friends, I'd kind of been known as the fun or the silly one, or if there's a dare to be done, Nick will do it, or if there's, you know, if you do something, I'll go that little bit further, take the joke that little bit further, whatever it might be. And that part of me had gone, it no longer existed. And I find that really hard to cope with. And I would find myself in conversations with people running dry of things to say, or going blank with my best friends. And I just found it really hard to cope with. And I was told that, you know, this is temporary, you know, you'll be back. There's this bit where I say, sent me down a track with a cheery wave, someday you'll be back. I was told this is temporary, you know, this is not a permanent position. You won't be like this always. But it felt to me like this was all irreversible. And so I was really apprehensive, for want of a better word, of what lay ahead. I didn't think much lay ahead. And I'd
did you feel like it was like, did you feel like it was in a little bit of a sort of dead end? It was sort of like something that you couldn't see the way out of because everything had been sort of subdued so much. Yeah,
exactly that. I couldn't see my way out of it. And I just hoped for someone to give me some positive news. And I wanted that part of me that I say had died to reawaken again. And I wanted to be me again. We all have a sense of what is us, our normal default personality, our normal way of talking to people, our normal way of holding a Zoom call, whatever it might be. And I'd lost that, and that's what was missing. So yeah, sorry, I've rambled a little bit.
No, we appreciate you sharing and being so honest. That's great to hear. I mean, it's unfortunate circumstances.
Ultimately,
but
to sum it to sum it up in a line, it was about trying to get me back.
Mhm.
That's what it's about.
Yeah. Is that like the things that you were getting from? Did you get some of that from the writing, Jessica? Like when you read that?
Oh, certainly. I didn't know that it was. I didn't get that it was his intention, like the reason for writing it. I actually probably don't ever really think about that. Like, why was this written? I was just thinking about what it was about. Actually interpreted that line differently about sending you on the track. I interpreted it as like, here's your meds, but don't worry, you'll be back to us because you're either going to need more, or you're going to need a higher dose, or
okay.
we know it's not actually going to be a permanent solution.
And that did at times happen, interestingly enough.
Yeah, I was going to say that seems to be a truth in a lot of cases. That, you know, yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I don't think I probably would have performed it the same, you know, similarly anyway. I think the song went to a certain place there regardless. So yeah, but that's always interesting to say, like, how
you can. I've just reread it, and of course you can read it like that. I didn't think in that way either. It's quite interesting.
Like a sarcastic, cheery wave, like, bye, we know you'll be back soon.
Well, actually, we've got one thing there. They're sort of we both read right, which was sort of a cheery wave. Oh, it's all right, you'll be back. It was a sort of sarcastic wave off. You know, you'll be fine. It's all right, whatever. And actually, it wasn't like that. It wasn't quite like that.
Yeah. No, thanks for sharing that, Nick. And Jessica, like, what was the thing that sort of drew you to this particular writing to make it?
Yeah, I can relate to it. So I had similar experience in high school. Was hospitalized. I will never forget that experience. And also, you know, the round of medications that came after that. And by the time I got through college, I mean, I never wanted to be on meds, right? I've always felt like, you know, this is like a cop-out. This isn't the real me. I have to learn how to deal with this stuff. And then, but I had used it as a crutch, like to get through. I realized that it's necessary to get over a hump, right? In some cases, it's necessary to get over a hump, but personally, I feel like to be on it long-term for me was not the answer. And then I learned, like, through meditation and like really like learning about how my brain works, how to just kind of not control my emotions, but step outside my emotions and realize that my emotions aren't me. They're actually like part of like my ego. They're not really like the real me. So it's almost like playful if you could look at them from the outside in and see them as and appreciate them. So now I avoid like any kind of muting of emotions, like whether it be like drugs or anything like that, like very little alcohol. And so, but I totally understand that feeling of like taking away who you feel you really are with the medication, and but also not knowing another option. So I think that was the feeling of what this song was about. It wasn't just like, well, then don't take the meds. It was like, well, but what else? Well, what's the alternative? You know? So now I'm stuck.
Yeah.
So it was also written very much like a song. So it was easy for me to like turn into something lyrical.
Interesting, because normally, or not normally, or quite often, if I'm writing something that's a poem, if I'm writing a poem, I don't know why something that's a poem, I'll have music on in the background because it will help me find a rhythm for when I'm writing. So I try and write it almost as if it were a song.
Yeah.
I'm writing to a beat, or I'm writing to a rhythm of some kind.
Cool.
So sometimes I guess that comes through.
I felt that. I felt that. I think a big difference between prose or poetry and music is the length. Like in music, you have the music behind it to express the feeling as well as the words. So ideally you should be able to strip the words away and still get the, feel the context, the feeling of the piece without the words. So you can say a lot more with a lot less words in music than in poetry, where you kind of have to explain everything, or prose where you really have to give more detail. So the fact that yours had very few words was actually made it easier to come out through the music.
Okay, it's rare for me as well, because normally I tend to waffle when I write poetry.
when you have to then put it into a song, you're confronted with this challenge to get it to fit into the rhythm and into 3 minutes. You don't want to have a 15-minute song.
That's quite interesting as well. Also for people contributing writing, it's like, the tips to sort of like maybe simplify, because I find that I've always overwritten everything, and so like I always think, also because potentially a musician would shorten it, like from what they see, from what I've got. Sometimes I write them short, but a lot of the times I do. They're far too long.
Yeah, well, there's something very cathartic about just writing without judging and without editing. But then when you do go back and edit, it's also interesting from an art perspective to say like, well, what are the essential words? What words have the most impact, and what can
you get rid of?
Delete. Yeah, delete. Because in a song, you could take one word and repeat it over and over. Like I could just say "DESOULED" for the whole song, and you'll get what I'm talking about eventually, right? Like DESOULED and like medications, like 2 words. We can figure out how to get the idea across, just like repeating those really important words. So
yeah, cool. So would you like to introduce the piece now, or would you like to explain any more, Jessica, like about how you approached it?
Is there anything else? I mean, generally from a songwriting perspective, I know you saw my Instagram story of how I approach writing, because when I write my own music, I always write lyrics first. So I write it in a poetry format with the rhythm, the da 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 da, and I don't think about melody at all. And I kind of let the words flow. So probably similar to what you've already done. So that's a good match for my style. And then I just read it, and as I'm reading the words, when we talk, we have intonation in our speech, right? So our voice goes up and down. And if I were talking this to someone telling a story, my voice is going to do certain things. So I use that as the springboard to like what the words naturally, what they want the melody to be. So it's almost like the song writes itself in a regard, especially the verses, so you just kind of like, da, 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 and then it just, then you just start committing to what those notes are, and then find the chord progressions under that. And then kind of one thing leads to another.
That's an insight. I'd never thought of songwriting in that way before. I never thought how it's done, what the process is.
Well, everyone does it differently. I mean, I know lots of songwriters who say they never write the lyrics first because the melody is the most important thing, and they'll figure out the lyrics later. So yeah, everyone's got a different process.
Myself and Nick don't do it at all. I feel a bit inadequate asking musical related questions to you, because
no, it's fine.
This is where it could go horribly wrong, but I'll try and get this up to share it now. Okay. Do you want to say anything more, Jessica?
Hope you like it. If you don't like it, you don't have to say anything. I like it. So that's what's important. I mean, at this stage in the game, I'm like, if I like it, I'm happy. I hope other people, you know, enjoy it as well, especially you, Nick, of course.
Oh, don't worry about me. I'm not important.
Okay, I'll play it from now. Okay.
There's a part of my soul buried deep, a chasm too vast for laughter to seep. The irrepressible has been repressed. The fun is gone. There's a cavity in my chest, a personality up in the ether. My body is upright. There's no gas in the meter. I can't remember the last time I cried. For that you need a soul. Something inside, unsold, desouled. I left my soul at the doctor's door. A part of me has died. These meds will help, they said they lied. Unsold, desouled. I left my soul at the doctor's door. A part of me has died. These meds will help, they said they lied. My head is a vacant lot, rusty cans and bottles shot, a cardboard cutout, sense of me flimsy without density. Oh, they fill me with chemicals, set me down on track with the cheery wave. Someday you will be back, like a politician full of promises. They're paying homage to the pills that pay the bills and keep us hostages. Oh, unsold, desouled. I left my soul at the doctor's door. A part of me has died. These meds will help, they said they lied. Unsold, desouled. I left my soul at the doctor's door. A part of me has died. These meds will help, they said they lied. Unsold, desouled. Unsold, desouled. Unsold, desouled. I left my soul at the doctor's door. A part of me has died. These meds will help, they said they lied. Unsold, desouled. Part of me has died. Part of me has died. Unsold, desouled.
Wow. Oh, as they say in the UK, you've got a set of pipes on you.
Thank you.
You can sing. Bloody hell.
It's powerful,
You can
isn't it?
play. Wow.
Best instrument we've got. we've all got it.
No, some of us have got it better than others, Jess. Some of us have got it better than others. I love the chorus as well. Left my soul at the doctor's door.
Oh yeah, I had to write a chorus. That was the
Yeah, there wasn't one. I can see that. Wow, it's amazing. I never thought it would be interpreted like that. I don't know what I expected, but I didn't expect that. It was amazing. Yeah. Tell you what, because I'm on medication at the moment, and it takes a lot to make me feel emotion. And I do feel I've got all what's the word? All goose pimply.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, my hope was that I kind of just let the song do what it wanted to. Do you know? Like, I don't know. It kind of is a very organic process.
I was going to say, it's not, what I quite like about it is it's not too fussy. It's quite stripped back.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you and the piano. And I really like that.
Yeah, I remember when I first read the lyrics, I thought, well, his head is a vacant lot, like this song has to have, and in fact, I think like if we do like a recording of it, I would actually want to make sure there's even more air in it. That feeling of vacancy. Like, did you feel that? Like when I just was silent for a minute, like there needs like the silence between the notes to be more apparent. It's probably actually just the echo and the reverb that kind of mustered it up a little bit. But if we do that, like, in a studio, I'd want to have that like really clear, like cut of no sound to get that vacancy feeling.
That's cool. That was actually what was going to. That's what I was actually going to ask. Is like if you had the opportunity, like to go into the studio, how might you arrange it? So I mean that's fantastic that you both sort of have caught onto a very similar sort of like as that the sparseness of like what's actually going on.
Yeah, I might do like some light percussion underneath with some hi-hats. But I got a notification there. But yeah, I think this song is like an acoustic. Yeah, this isn't certainly not like electronic dance music or anything.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Well,
although there's an interesting undercurrent to this song that I realised it's very similar to something else I wrote. I used to go out to talking about electronic music. I used to go out to clubs a lot, and I used to indulge, and I used to take various substances, and there'd be a point at like 5, 6 in the morning where you feel desouled. Everything starts to wear off, and you feel really empty, and you feel really dirty and grimy, and you feel quite angry with yourself for having got into that state again.
And you realize how dirty the club is that you're in.
Yeah, exactly. And you look around, you're like, look at the state of them. Oh, I look like that.
That's a mirror.
Yeah. Or you're waiting for a tube train at 7 in the morning. You're like, what have I done?
Yeah.
And you feel really empty and desouled. And that's why I stopped doing it. That's why I stopped going out to clubs like that, because this 6, 7 o'clock in the morning feeling where you just feel horrible about yourself. So it's quite interesting. There is probably an element of that in it as well. I don't think you could.
Well, it would be interesting to do like a remix of it, because it does have that bouncy like da 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 da. It would be interesting to play with that and see what a remix would sound like.
Yeah,
turn it into
electronic remix. Yeah.
So yeah, this is great. I just want to thank you both for being part of the project and putting a bit of trust in the project and trust in each other. Like really, like adopting the song and you for writing it, Nick. It's really great from my point of view for you to actually be part of it, and I appreciate it so much.
Thank you, Stu, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to do it. It's anyone I've put it to so far thinks it's a great idea, so it's been successful so far.
Yeah, it's gaining momentum, and I love the reaction that I was because I'd actually heard the song and I'd obviously seen the video. I found myself watching you, because I know how I felt when I first heard the first song that was sent to me from my my particular rants and babbles and writing, and it can be very moving that somebody actually cared about your writing, your words, and taken it to that next level.
Yeah, and done something with it that I couldn't possibly have done. So yeah, it's amazing to watch as a process.
Yeah, it's hopefully we'll have many more of these shares and these moments to sort of share with other people.
I like the other one you wrote. I think it was like nothing is something.
Oh, nothing is something. Yeah, I got obsessed with nothingness because I don't. So I'm not particularly religious. I'm not religious at all. Obviously that doesn't offend anyone at all, but so I struggle because I don't believe in an afterlife. So my thought is always when you have those nights when you're thinking too much and you can't get to sleep, well, if I don't believe in that, what is nothing? Well, nothing is black. Well, black is something. Okay, well, nothing is transparent. Well, transparent is something. And you end up in a loop and you end up not asleep till 3 a.m. because all you've done is lie there and think about nothing. And that's what that was about, basically.
Well, noisy brain is definitely the right word to describe.
Well, what's the right word to describe it? Sorry?
Noisy brain.
Noisy brain, yeah, you're right.
It's all about the overthinking, which it can be painful, but it can be creative as well, and positives can come out of it.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm not too sure how to wrap this up, but I thank you both for. I mean, Jessica, I didn't realize that you'd actually been through this kind of thing as well, with the time that you had in medication and hospital and everything. So I really appreciate you being honest about sharing that as well. And thank you, Nick, for all of your honesty and your shares, and both of you for being part of this project. It's overwhelming when it comes to this stage because there's some kind of a sense of completion. So I do hope that at some point we can take the song to like the next level and get it to sort of a stage where Jessica, you'd be happy for a bigger audience maybe to hear it, and maybe at some point we can do this the planned album of Noisy Brain songs. That's what we're planning on doing. We're a little way off that at the moment. We need to sort of take the project to the next level to be able to afford to do all of those things. But I think it's in a great position to step forward to the next level. So that's great.
Well, I never forget a song. So 10 years, 15 years, I'll still remember.
Are you able to perform at the moment, Jessica? Has everything opened up, or it's not? Okay.
No, I mean they've had like little, one person shows at little cafes and stuff like that, like during dinner, but there's nobody there to listen. So I've just been laying low and writing. Yeah.
Well, that's another sort of.
No, I was just going to say we've got a whole battery of songs now ready to go.
Well, I always write. Like I've never had a problem writing. Like there's always something to write about. But I have 2 boys, so they were home a lot. I spent a lot of family time this past year, which has been good too. So a lot of time entertaining them and keeping the family on track.
Okay. Cool. Well, thanks so much. I'm not too sure what else to say. Is there any more questions from you guys about the project or about the DESOULED song?
I was just going to say to Jess, I mean, if well, she seems quite capable herself, obviously, because she's a songwriter. But if you want me to tweak any bits of it, or you want me to write a new verse at any point, you know, I'm happy to do that. But at the moment, I'm kind of leaving it in your capable hands.
Yeah, I mean, the bones of it are finished. There's a couple places I could clean up, but I feel like the bones are there, and I don't know. It feels complete at this stage of where it's supposed to be. I think, unless you like hate any of the words that I added, then I'll be happy to take them out.
I think I added to it.
Yeah, but other than that, to me, it has the arc and it finishes. There's a beginning, middle, and end, and but I'll write more stuff of yours for sure. Like if you have anything, be glad to play with it.
Yeah, I need to get back to it. I've had a little break recently from writing stuff. Stu, I sent you across a little cache of stuff. You know,
there's about another 8 to 10 in there, like that Nick just shared with me a few days ago. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've got no idea if they're any good. We'll wait and see. I think you uploaded them onto the app because I've got some notifications from.
Yeah, I put 2 onto the app today. Yeah.
Ah, okay. I'll have a look. I haven't looked at the app yet today.
Yeah, I don't think there's such thing as a bad one, you know, like, because I'm thinking I went through, so, you know, I read through the whole PDF and none of them were bad. It was more for me, it was like, what can I relate to so that I can write authentically, you know?
Yeah.
Because I knew there'd be something in there that I could. But that's why I said to Stu, I was like, we got to get more female contributors because I think there is just such a different way or different triggers that for depression and anxiety that women have versus men, and like different things that we think about that, you know, cause those. Like body image is like a huge one for women. That's always like, that's going to be part of depression, anxiety, and, you know, all that. So anyway.
Yeah, I've been trying to encourage more women to there's a couple of women have submitted some things like recently, which I don't think were in the original booklet that I sent you, Jessica. I think there's a few in the one that I sent you recently, Nick. But yeah, I'm still trying to get more people to contribute, and obviously I completely understand that there's for some reason a lack of women sort of sending writings in, and I'm not entirely sure about why that is. Because this, you know, it's not ever been male skewed like any of our communications on it. So yeah, encourage all your female friends to write if they have stories to tell.
Yeah, I will. Maybe they just need a leader, someone to say like, oh wow, she said that, I could say this. You know.
Exactly.
I know what you're saying before. Like, well,
goes back to the full circle of what we were talking about before. About, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Takes that one person to stand up. Yeah. Yeah. No, thanks so much, guys. And Nick, I'll send you a copy of Jessica's song, both your songs. Sorry.
Well, with Jessica's permission, obviously.
And Jessica, like, while you're here, is like, if you get a chance, and you've already sort of gone above and beyond, but you know, I find it very interesting, like from your point of view, what you look for in a song, and maybe we could just do something, you know, maybe just you direct the camera, sort of like how you go about looking for a song to sing, or how you maybe write. I've got a few artists that are doing little sort of videos about how they approach making a song, and I sort of got a working title of a series is like, there's a million ways to write a song, you know, and so we will never get to a million pieces of content. So I think I mentioned it before, but
yeah.
Siri, will you shut up? Siri keeps interrupting me.
Siri's needed today.
I think I lisp a lot of my words, and so it comes out silly. So yeah, like maybe I'll send you a note about what we potentially sort of are looking at, and if you're keen and if you have the opportunity to, like, we'd love to sort of have that point of view. But I'll outline it a little bit more detail about what we're looking for.
Yeah, that'd be helpful. Yeah, absolutely.
And if you can, that would be fantastic. If you can't, that's fine as well. So
yeah, no, I can do that.
So thank you so much, guys. It's really, really appreciate everything you've done. And and thanks for joining me at all these different weird times around the world.
I think I got off the lightest today, 2:30 in the afternoon. I'm well awake. I'm fine. I'm fully caffeinated.
Okay. Well, thanks again, guys, and really appreciate it. So thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Catch up soon. Cheers.